Welcome to Healthy for Life, and welcome to our second virtual presentation, Zoom presentation. And tonight we have with us Marisa Messer. Marisa is a Master Herbalist. I met Marisa about 1.5 years ago, I believe, at a Body Talk training seminar in West Des Moines, and we began to talk, and I certainly liked what I had to hear in terms of Marisa's knowledge around self-healing and the use of food and the use of plants for the healing of our bodies, also the intelligence of our body that knows what it needs when it's given what it needs. So Marisa comes to us from the School of Natural Healing, which is where she did her studies and become a Master Herbalist. And I'm really looking forward to having her explain to all of you out there about the wonderful product called Herbal Cleanser that you all use. And Marisa knows more about it than anybody I know. So with that said, I'm going to turn this over to Marisa. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. I'll go ahead and talk about Herbal Cleanser. So Tim had given me the bottle that you guys all use. We had begun talking about this 1.5 years ago whenever we had met, and he said, take a look at this and tell me about the herbs inside of it. And I recognized right away that it was the Easy-Act blend. It's generally a 4 or 5 herb combination. Some people blend up to 7 herbs in them, but it's just super great cleanser, and it's really good for cleansing because the herbs in it are really gentle, and so you don't have a lot of detox side effects. A lot of times when people start taking cleansers, you might feel some detox, but like the slippery elm in it really helps to calm your stomach and your intestines and just makes the whole transition smoother. And then as you continue, it really just gives your body what you need to function well. It's something I've used over the years as I've detoxed, and then just as a normal everyday supplement. So it's a super thing to take. If you're already taking it, that's great. I'd say continue. If you're not, I'd suggest talking to Tim, looking into it, and seeing how it can help you. And then tonight, in kind of addition to that, I'm going to talk about just the benefits of taking care of your liver. So Tim had mentioned that I did go to the School of Natural Healing. My journey towards health kind of began much earlier than that. I grew up kind of having strep throat and tonsillitis a lot, so I went to the doctor a lot, and my doctor always joked that I was the only person that gave him a complex because I wouldn't talk to him. It just wasn't natural. Just didn't seem natural. And so as I grew up and started to study herbs a little bit, just the basic stuff like tea that you would drink, echinacea tea or something like that you could get at the box at the grocery store. I just kind of started to take an interest in that. If I'd have a sore throat, would drink lemon and honey and hot water, and it was just kind of a natural thing for me to go into that way. And about 13 years ago, I became pretty sick. 14 years ago, I didn't have any platelets, and went to the doctor just because I had large unexplained bruises and some like trace of a bloody nose and blood blisters inside my lips, just kind of some odd stuff. And they drew my blood, and I had 0 platelets is what it registered. And you should have 150 to 270 is kind of the normal range. So they immediately put me in an ambulance and drove me to Des Moines, and I spent a couple of weeks in the hospital. Doctors did just different things. They put me on some immune suppressant drugs, tried some platelet infusions. I was on high dose of Benadryl, and none of it was working. And at that time I had 3 kids, and I wanted to be at home taking care of them. I was done with the hospital, already didn't like doctors. And my dad had been kind of researching what I had, which was called ITP, and had found an herbal supplement for it. And so I ordered it and started taking it. And that was day 10 of being in the hospital. And 2 days later, my levels were safe enough to go home. And so I continued taking it, got my levels up to above the 120 mark, and I haven't had any problems since that. So that was kind of my big shove into studying herbs more than just, drinking tea for a sore throat. I started just reading books, got my hands on this book called Be Your Own Doctor, and that's where I came knowledgeable of School of Natural Healing. So I started taking classes and spent 2 years studying everything from plants, botany, had anatomy classes. So it was a pretty extensive training, and focused on some key areas of health. And the biggest thing that I took away from that is having health and vitality. So it's not just a matter of putting a Band-Aid on whatever the symptom is, but finding out what is causing this disease, what is causing this problem, and how can we give the body what it needs to fix the problem? Because our body is amazing, and it can heal itself and it can detox itself if it's given what it needs to do so. I have a slide here. I'll show you this kind of a fun comic. So it's kind of like standing at the DMV. One line you have the toxic pills and surgery, and the other is lifestyle change. And there's nobody at the lifestyle change, but everybody wants the easy route of toxic pills and surgery. But the lifestyle change isn't hard. It's doable. You don't have to change a lot, just one step at a time. Maybe add a green salad, a leafy green salad to your meals, or skip the soda. Just little things help so much. And then if you have more severe issues that you're looking to address, it's a good idea to find somebody that knows a little bit more and can walk you through that and coach you and kind of be your cheerleader as you go, so you know what your goal is and how to get there. So Standard American Diet, acronym SAD, for good reason. This is what most people in America eat. Fried foods, grain-based desserts, the high-fat dairy. The reason that becomes a problem is it's all processed dairy. So it's homogenized and pasteurized, and most of the nutrients are not in the dairy in a usable form because of that. We've got our processed foods, processed meats, the red meats, especially red meats that don't come from a grass-fed source, are hard to digest for our body. And then we have our refined grains like our pastas and flours, and our sugar-sweetened beverages. Here is a fun little picture that I found as I was looking, is the school lunches of what our kids are eating across the world. You look at US as prepackaged fruit that's been processed and just a little bit of vegetable and chicken nuggets, but you get into the other countries and you have whole pieces of fruit and vegetable and lots of it. And so kind of just contributes to the problem that we have across the country. And even, as we're seeing now, there's more long-term health concerns, younger and younger. It's not just older generations. We're seeing it in younger. And so personally, I'm concerned on what that's going to look like in another, 10 or 15 years. So I wanted to touch on the functions of the liver, because our liver is one of the most important organs in our body, besides our heart that keeps us alive and our brain that keeps all of our systems functioning. Our liver has over 500 different functions. It manufactures bile. And that's important because it breaks down the fats that we eat. It also helps our body to absorb iron and calcium and vitamins. So even if we're taking, a multivitamin, which many people do, if your liver is not producing the bile, your body isn't going to absorb the iron and the calcium, the vitamins, the minerals that it needs. The bile also helps to get rid of metals, kind of think of it as making a little package of heavy metals. You might not think that you consume heavy metals, but it's in a lot of different things. Same with toxins, bacteria. We come in contact with bacteria that's harmful. If our liver's functioning well, it'll get rid of it, and you don't come down with diseases or illnesses. The simple ones that you spend a couple of days in bed and then you're back on your feet. Definitely helps with that. And it helps to maintain a suitable pH balance, which is good just because when your pH is balanced in your body, then you can avoid a lot of diseases. So supporting your liver so it does that is great. And glucose is something that many people are pretty familiar with. Type 1 and type 2 diabetes has become a big problem in America. The liver stores glucose in the form of glycogen, which that way it helps to regulate the blood sugar. So kind of like the packets of toxins that the body gets rid of, the liver keeps the packets of glucose, so then it's not in your bloodstream. So if you have to check your blood sugar, that's the amount of sugar inside your blood. But if your liver can store that for later, or provide it to the brain or your red blood cells or your kidneys, wherever your body may need it, because all of your systems function off of sugar, but it's got to be in the right form and it's got to be at the right time. And so your liver is able to maintain the timing and the form. Our liver changes fats to a usable form for our cells. And we touched on that. It helps us to absorb vitamins, especially vitamin A, D, E, and K. We don't hear a lot about vitamin E and K, but they're pretty important. Like your vitamin E helps with your capillaries, your blood, your veins, strengthens that, gives you healthy skin, eyes, all of that. So liver also stores excess vitamins and iron, and then the body can use it when it needs it. Like if you would go do a workout, working out is stressful for our muscles. And so there's always a little bit of a rebuilding process every time you exercise, which is good. But if your liver is healthy, then it will have the vitamins and the iron needed to repair and restore your muscles and your joints. The bile distributes these throughout the body as the body needs it. Like I said before, your body is amazing and can function really well, optimally, if it's given what it needs. The liver forms plasma proteins for blood clotting that gets into dealing with cholesterol, just your healthy blood clotting if you get a cut, that type of thing. Kind of a interesting picture of how that works a little bit. You have amino acids are a building block, and I know Healthy for Life has an amino acid supplement So this all kind of works together to make sure that your blood is healthy and working the way that it should. Your liver also destroys old red blood cells. Kind of the idea is that you want to get your body in a cycle of out with the old and in with the new. And you want that to happen fairly quickly because you don't want old dead blood cells, deformed blood cells, things that they've been used and they're no longer useful, because when they sit in your body, it creates congestion. When there's congestion, then blood doesn't flow, new things don't flow. And so the liver gets rid of the old red blood cells, gets them out of our body, and then our body can have fresh new blood cells, you'll be good to go. They accumulate in the liver. If you don't have a healthy liver, those red blood cells can just sit there, or they can sit in other areas in your body. Sometimes tumors are formed this way, or cancer is formed this way by the old red blood cells or deformed cells just sitting and not moving along. Your body will recognize what's old or deformed, like if you have a deformed cell, and it puts a protective coating around it and additional cells just to protect the body from that old, useless, not what the body needs type of thing. Puts a protective coating around that in order to keep it away from the rest of the body. And in the end, if it doesn't eventually get out, it can cause problems. Synthesis or urea, waste products of proteins and exits through the kidneys. So this is just another part of that cycle of out with the old and in with the new. Allows your body to remove nitrogen. Often people really feel this in their joints if they have a lot of nitrogen built up. So it's good to do that. And the liver is a great detox. It's one of the major detox centers in our body. And we come in contact with an incredible amount of toxins every day, from our shampoo, our hair products, if you wear perfume or cologne, if you don't wear organic clothing, that toxins can rub off that way, plus just what's in the air from, manufacturing or car exhaust, things like that. So our bodies are inundated with toxins all day long. And so the more toxins that we can help get rid of, the better we're going to feel, the less sluggish we'll feel. Often people will lose weight because of it, because your body is storing the fat. Inside that fat is the toxins. So you want to try and get rid of that. Estimated 80,000 toxins a day. That's kind of if you're an average American that uses average, cleaning products, hair products, things like that. And again, the toxins that build up don't allow the body to function optimally. So that's what we're looking at tonight, is how can we help the liver, because the liver helps everything else. So as an herbalist, I always like to go to herbs as a great way to help. One of my favorite herbs to use is ginger, especially if you can get it in the raw form. It's great. We often use it in a powdered form in, our baking dishes. But if you can drink some ginger tea or some other form of ginger is great. It's just a great herb to take. It does have a little bit of a spicy kind of bite to it, but some things are acquired, They always used to tell me that beer was an acquired taste. I still haven't acquired it, so I acquired ginger instead. But it helps with oxidative stress, which is just back to that toxin thing that we just talked about. It's great for anti-inflammation. We're all familiar with inflammation, when it happens in our joints, you sprain an ankle or you pull a muscle and you feel that heat, but we also have inflammation in our internal organs. And chronic inflammation creates chronic diseases. So the more we can do to help fight inflammation, the better that we are. Ginger is great for fighting just infection like viruses and bacteria. It's high in antioxidants. That's kind of been a buzzword lately. The antioxidants, lots of berries, or this is high in antioxidants, that's high in antioxidants. Antioxidants are they're great detoxing. They're great for helping you have the vitamins and minerals, using all of that. Ginger encourages the bile production in the liver, and it has a lot of enzymes. Enzymes are super important in digesting our food. So as you're eating food, the more that you can focus on your raw foods or your cultured foods, the more enzymes you're going to get, and the better you'll be able to digest your food and use the vitamins and minerals that your food has. So you'll eat less, you'll be healthier because you'll be getting more of the vitamins and minerals. Ginger can help fight fatty liver disease. It can help with parasites. We don't often think of parasites in America, kind of think of it as a third world issue, but it is something that we deal with in America. Parasites are everywhere. And so I encourage people to do a parasite cleanse once or twice a year. Ginger can help with that. It can also help with weight loss if that's something that you're looking at. Another great herb is garlic. I like to have a jar of chopped garlic just to throw in my food. Raw is always better to use. Again, the high in the antioxidants, has arginine, which is an amino acid that helps with the blood vessels. So that's why garlic can help lower blood vessel, and it especially does that in the liver. So the blood pressure, sorry. So if you can lower the blood pressure in your liver, then that should eventually carry out to the blood pressure in the rest of your body, which will ultimately lower your blood pressure. Garlic's high in vitamin C, has a lot of vitamin D, and it can reduce your LDL and your triglyceride fats, which in turn helps to lower your blood pressure, and it can help detox as well. A lot of the herbs that I use or I suggest help detox one way or another, whether it's your liver or your different organs. It's just something good to keep in mind and be aware of. Then we have chicory. You may see chicory, especially if you live in the Midwest. It's kind of the bright blue flower that grows along the roadsides and in flat areas throughout the summertime. Chicory is great to reduce stress. It also fights inflammation. It helps to clean the liver. So just like that cycle, out with the old, in with the new, you wash your dishes, you wash your clothes, and you just keep that cycle going. So you want to keep that cycle going inside as well. Chicory root, the part that grows in the ground, contains inulin. Inulin is a prebiotic, so you may know about probiotics. Prebiotics are important too because they aid in digestion, so it helps to use the probiotics. So I usually encourage people to take a prebiotic with their probiotic, and it just helps your body to digest things. It would be more the fiber content in your fruits and vegetables. It would be inulin or your prebiotic. So chicory can help regulate appetite, which would help, if you're interested in losing weight, that's something to look into. Has antioxidants that help strengthen the immune system, and it also cleanses the blood. So after you start getting your liver going, then I usually suggest to people to look at cleansing their blood next, just as a whole body routine, I guess, a cleaning routine, but definitely supporting your liver on an ongoing basis is really good. And then, some people like to do a deeper cleanse once or twice a year, and that's a great thing to do. And then we have turmeric. Turmeric is a really popular herb in a lot of Indian dishes. The yellow flavor is kind of related to ginger. It reduces antioxidants, or increases antioxidants and reduces inflammation, protects against fibrosis, and regulates cholesterol. So if you have high cholesterol, it can help bring that down. It can help reduce the blood sugar by having the liver work the glucose like it should. And then it can help balance leptin, which is another enzyme. There's many different kinds of enzymes that we can get from all kinds of different foods, fruits, vegetables, especially. Herbs have a lot of enzymes in them. So this is a great way to do that. Turmeric and ginger are two things that I suggest to people who are concerned with inflammation, to combine those two, kind of give you a double punch there. So this is easy to add to dishes, like chicken dishes. I'll put this in hamburger, taco meat. It tastes good, so it's easy to hide in food. It's not as strong as like maybe garlic is, but it has a lot of powerful properties to it that can help you out. And then we have dandelion. Dandelion, you can eat the leaves in the spring, kind of like a salad, or in the fall to dig up the root. Dandelion will increase the bile production in your liver. It helps to improve the circulation in your liver, just get things moving again. And dandelion is really great in that it helps the liver to isolate the toxins and flush them out, so it gets that protective coating around them, helps the body get rid of them. When it got that protective coating, then the toxins don't bind as easily to other things as it's moving. Dandelion can also remove toxins and water from the blood. So dandelion is a great thing to take if you are doing a blood cleanse as well. And then if you have gallstones, dandelion is one of the good things that helps to break down those gallstones, to pass those through. And then maybe you won't have quite as much pain as some people can have with that because of how it breaks it down. Okay, so I went through those pretty quick. I was hoping that your questions would kind of direct me on where you wanted to go, what you wanted to know with this. If you have additional questions afterwards, I do meet with people and consult with people. You can find me at simplywildherbs.com. My email and phone number are all on there to get in contact with me, and I'd be happy to work with you and see what we can do to help you achieve your health goals. I'm going to stop share.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Marisa. Everyone on the call, what we're going to do is please use the question and answer at the bottom of your screen to ask Marisa anything you want to ask her. And if she doesn't have an answer for it, she'll tell you that. But I know she'll have a lot of answers related to this. And thank you for concentrating. People ask me about the liver that come into Healthy for Life all the time. And I give them my knowledge, but that was very, very helpful. I learned an awful lot from that. Thank you. And let's see, I'm going to be the one being the, Keith asks, is there a capsule form of dandelions, Marisa?
Yes, there is. I usually keep for myself dried herbs on hand, but I also put things in capsules or get them in capsules just because life is busy and sometimes you don't have the time to sit down and drink a cup of tea. So you definitely can find capsules of any of the herbs that we covered. So I can help you find that, direct you where to look for that too.
Yeah, now Keith also wants to know, would that be also the same for like ginger? You can buy ginger in capsules as well?
Yep, I've bought every one of the herbs that I mentioned today. I have bought in capsules. I have bought it in powdered form and in cut form. Cut form is typically what you use for tea. So
Shirley wants to know, what do you recommend for diabetics, type 2 diabetes?
yeah, so definitely watch your blood sugar if you are interested in doing a cleanse, because I would venture to say that it will change your blood sugar and you'll have to regulate it a little bit more if you're doing a liver cleanse, because of how the liver starts to use the glucose and store it better and then put it where it should go more. And so maybe your blood sugar will be lower because the body doesn't have as much blood sugar in the blood because it's storing it in the liver where it should be. I kind of think that a lot of type 2 diabetics is really pushed into action by an unhealthy liver, because your liver should be able to manage that. So that is definitely something to watch if you have diabetes, either type 1 or type 2, and you want to do a liver cleanse. Just monitor it closely.
Gotcha. And what would you recommend if someone came to you and asked about, I want a procedure to detox my liver? Give me your advice on that, Marisa?
Yeah, I would sit down with them. Everybody is different. Everybody's toxin level is different, and what everybody is willing to do, going back to that surgery and pills versus lifestyle change, is different. And so I sit down and talk with them. What are your health concerns? What are your health goals? Are you trying to manage your cholesterol? Are you trying to manage your blood sugar? Are you just trying to be healthier, live a healthier lifestyle? And then how do you want to do that? Do you need to go the capsule route so that it's easy? Are you a tea drinker? Are you going to add ginger and turmeric to your meals? And so when I work with somebody, I really try to customize it to them, because we're all individuals. And what works for me isn't going to work for Tim. And what works for Tim isn't going to work for the next person that comes along. And so I encourage people, really sit down and think about that, because when you go into Healthy for Life or you come and talk to me, this is about a lifestyle change for you. It's your life. It's your lifestyle. What do you want to create? And I know that Tim does health coaching, and it's kind of the same mentality. If you go play on a sports team, you have a coach, and that coach is looking at you of, okay, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are we trying to accomplish? And it should be that way with your health as well. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What do you want to accomplish? And how can I help you get there?
Shirley is asking, any recommendations for congestive heart failure?
That would be a different area. The liver, of course, helps because it just detoxes, but there are other herbs that do help to strengthen the heart. I know the Healthy for Life added, where we were talking about cat's claw, helps to strengthen capillaries, blood vessels. So you want to look that direction as you're trying to, how can I address congestive heart failure, is to look at the herbs that address the heart. The great thing about herbs are they go to a certain part of your body. So whether it's over functioning or under functioning, whether you're detoxing, you have a lot of toxins that you need to get rid of, you're trying to build it up, these herbs are the food that help your body to do that, your body part to do that. So just like these 5 herbs that I mentioned for the liver, address the liver, then you have other herbs that work with the heart, work with your capillaries, your blood veins, strengthen all of that, purify your blood. So that would be a route that I'd suggest to look at.
Yeah, and our omega-6 oils are vasodilators. And when I first met Brian Peskin, who started Healthy for Life, that was one of the things, keeping those arteries supple and keeping them, as opposed to not having oils that make them rigid, which we used to call that hardening of the arteries or arteriosclerosis. And that was for one of the first things I learned from Brian when I heard him speak.
Yeah.
Angela wants to know, can you take chicory and turmeric for inflammation at the same time?
Yep. Yeah, so I make an herbal blend for inflammation. I put in chicory, I put in ginger, turmeric, and I do milk thistle. I didn't cover that herb tonight, but it's another great herb for the liver. And just that combination or different combinations of herbs that are good for the liver are great. And you can mix them and get a more potent combination that kind of works everything together. And like the chicory gets the inulin and the prebiotic, where the turmeric doesn't, but the turmeric has the inflammation. And being orange, your color of your food makes a big difference. So being orange shows you that it has a lot more antioxidants and some more vitamins and minerals in it that maybe chicory wouldn't, because if you look at the root, it's kind of a white. So you can definitely mix things together.
Gotcha. How do you know how much to take of each specific herb?
Yeah. I do muscle testing on myself. So that's a method that some people use. I know that has been a concern, like with the FDA and the Western medical community, is there's no standard amount. So what's a dose? And so that's hard to navigate. I personally just started asking myself, okay, how many do I need of these? And your body's a great communicator, but you have to learn to listen to it. So it takes some time, and you just kind of jump in, start slow, work your way up. And if you just start to learn to listen to those cues, when it comes to mind, oh, I think I should take that, or something resonates with you, you look into that, because that's your body telling you that that's something you need.
Yeah, I always encourage people to play with these things, and play seems like an interesting word. Any concerns about that? Because what I mean by play, experimentation, what some people call biohacking, and any real concerns that people ought to be, because people will ask me that about herbs. My grandmother,
Right.
my grandmother had this happen when she was. Any concerns? Walk us through that, Marisa.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I see would be detox die-off. So if you start taking herbs, some people will start to not feel well because they're detoxing, and it'll take a week or two to kind of get the first shove of toxins out of your body to where you can start building. So that the idea is at first you're cleansing. If you've ever had to purge or cleanse your house, first you're getting rid of everything, and then you can start building. And so that's the idea with our body, is detoxing. The feelings of that are pretty strong for some people, even people who are fairly healthy. It's common for them to have headaches or maybe backaches, and just to kind of drink enough water, relax, give yourself the time and the nutrients you need to work through that. But otherwise, there are certain herbs that are more toxin, or some plants that are more toxic. But generally, the general public it's hard for them to get their hands on it. So you kind of got to be on the inside to get those, and then you know how to use them and when to use them.
Right.
So
You know, it's funny because sometimes when people don't understand detoxing when it begins and when it happens, and they get a little bit scared because they'll take a product, they'll take our herbal, and there'll be the very symptoms of detoxing that you talked about. That's normal, natural, let it go, and it'll just take care of itself in a few days. But that can make people very uneasy.
yeah.
Yeah. Charles asked, is all herbs considered to be organic?
No, so they are not, and you want to have a reputable source from them. I don't buy from just anywhere. I have where I went to school, they have their product line. I use those because I know the testing that goes into it. And then where the school gets their herbs from another supplier. And I know their testing is also pretty rigid. So they look under infrared and microscopes, and they look for mold and toxins and things like that. So you do want to find organic whenever you can. Like, I understand organic does cost more, so if that's cost prohibitive, you do the best you can. But if you can, look for organic. It should say it on the label. I know that like Healthy for Life, they have theirs or listed organic, but if you buy it somewhere else, just ask them, is this organic, and what testing have you had, or what testing has your supplier done with this?
Dave asks, how do you know if you need a liver detox, or is that just normal maintenance of your body? And is it wise to do that annually, biannually?
I would say if you're alive, you need a detox, a liver detox. It is just a normal thing, just like you take a shower, just like you wash your dishes. It's just a normal part of life. I would even suggest trying to incorporate it daily just into your food. Make sure, try to cook with raw garlic or turmeric or ginger. So try to use those herbs that are well known for cooking in your dishes, and then you'll be able to get that in. But then you can look at supplements to see if there's something that you can have on hand to just take on a regular basis. Myself, I usually do a bigger liver cleanse and detox. I try to do it a couple of times a year, at least, maybe a little more often, depending on how I'm feeling. So that's just kind of what can you do type of thing. What kind of lifestyle do you want to create? Do you want to create the lifestyle where your liver cleanse is just a normal part of your life? Or are you creating that a couple times a year or quarterly? So look at it that way.
Gotcha. Marisa, I know that you have studied kinesiology, and you just mentioned muscle testing. Do you do muscle testing with your patients, with your clients, and also maybe teach them how to, and explain that a little bit? I don't know that our audience completely understands what muscle testing is and the intelligence of the body, and would you explain that?
Yeah. So at first glance, muscle testing seems a little woo-woo out there. It was introduced to me when I'd moved back to Iowa, and the chiropractor I was going to started using it just to help balance my body when he would do the adjustments. And he used kinesiology. And the idea behind it is everything is energy. We're all energy. People are made up of energy, like the food you eat, it has energy. And so you have a strong muscle when it's something your body wants or needs or is good for your body. And you'll have a weak muscle when it's bad for your body. So like when I would go to my chiropractor, I was having issues with seasonal allergies. And so we'd go through I don't know if you're familiar with like an allergist or kinesiology kit with common known allergens. They have small vials and of that content. So like alfalfa or, pollen, oak tree pollen, something like that. And your muscles will be weak when you come in contact with that because your body system is recognizing that is dangerous. And the problem comes in when our body, our immune system gets out of whack and we start interpreting things as dangerous that are not. So people who have a lot of allergies, whether it be seasonal allergies or food allergies, their immune system is on heightened alert. And somewhere along the line, their immune system has learned this is bad. So this pollen is bad. This strawberry, if you're allergic to strawberry, is bad. And your body doesn't know the difference between it's not bad or it is bad because it just learned somewhere this is bad. And so kinesiology can kind of help reprogram that a little bit. But in the fact that it uses energy in our body, it can also communicate with us, this, my body needs this, or my body needs this tea, what's in here. And so you can use that if somebody has learned that method. It's kind of a honed skill that you've got to develop. But just starting to learn to listen to your body to give those clues, those signals on what it needs.
Yeah. Judy asks, are there any herbs that would help to shrink thyroid nodules? And I had 2 calls about that today.
Yeah. That is something I have dealt with personally, not nodules necessarily, but my thyroid. I did have a nodule on my thyroid when I was 17 and they removed half of my thyroid. So it's something I've studied a lot and have worked with a lot because I don't take medicine for it, but I do take an herbal thyroid supplement for it just to help keep things normal. So you have your clinical level where you go into the doctor and they read all your numbers and they say you're within normal range. But then you have subclinical symptoms where maybe struggle with weight gain or weight loss, hair loss, brittle nails, body temperature regulation. Usually you feel colder. So I use an herbal thyroid and it has kelp, like the seaweeds. Kelp's a good one. Parsley root. I think of all the others that are in it, but it has several together, so you kind of get a good strong herbal supplement for that. And I've been able to maintain my thyroid with it either way, like whatever my concern is, that's just what I do, and so it's good.
Mm-hmm. Dave asks, do you find mercury in old dental fillings generally problematic?
Yes, I think that is a big problem. The amount of mercury in a dental filling is way more than what the FDA has deemed safe for human consumption, but somehow they determined since it was in this filling form, then it didn't actually get into your body and didn't cause problems. But that's not the truth. So if you look into naturopathic doctors, vitalists, you can find some natural dentists when you get holistic dentists, like in bigger cities. I think there's one over by Iowa City. They're finding that people are suffering from the mercury fillings, and we've had increasing number of Alzheimer's and dementia and just ADD, ADHD, all of those brain disorders, bipolar. So if you look at that, those disorders have all increased a lot since we started using mercury fillings. and our brain can't get rid of mercury as easily as as fast as it's coming in. So you have one mercury filling, at the rate that mercury is shedding off that filling and being absorbed into your bloodstream, your body on its own has a hard time getting rid of it. And so there's some different herbs that help to get rid of toxins, metal toxins. Parsley root's a good one. Trying to think of some other ones. There's a lot of really good ones that help with that. And so then you can start to reverse the effects of mercury toxins. Plus you have it, not only in dental stuff, but in vaccinations, and then who knows what's in the air or the water you're drinking. So something to be concerned about for sure.
Mm-hmm. Robin asked, do you have to take pepper to make turmeric most effective?
I have heard that there are some people who do. I do not. I think on its own it's good, but I know there's something with the pepper and how your body digests the pepper, that it's able to use the turmeric as well. But also, if you mix the turmeric with the ginger, or ginger is a good one. I was trying to think. I think there's one other one that you can mix it with that helps you to use and absorb the turmeric. But you do get plenty of nutrients from it, taking it alone.
Okay, any other questions that you have for Marisa? And Marisa, have you shared your contact information and how everybody can get a hold of you?
I did have that on my screen here. Let me share that again. This is my website. So simplywildherbs.com is my website. You can get on there and find my email. I think my phone is on there. So you can contact me there if you have additional questions. I'd be happy to walk with you. Generally, I do kind of an intake with people. What are your goals? What are your concerns? And then go from there. The suggestions, you can try this. I'm not a doctor, so I don't diagnose diseases. I don't prescribe herbs, but kind of come from a educational and a coaching standpoint of, this is what I've learned. This is what I would try. And then usually I give people a couple of weeks to start taking the herbs, or if you want me to send them to you, or if you want to get them yourself, however works best for you. And then we do a follow-up to make sure you understand what's going on and there aren't any questions. But you can find me at simplywildherbs.com. Simply Wild Herbs is also on Facebook, so you can find me there as well.
Can for those people who don't have, believe it or not, computer, could you give us your phone number, Marisa?
Yeah.
Do you give out your phone number, Marisa?
Yeah, I can do that. I was going to say, I'll type it into the chat real quick.
Okay.
And
we've got some more questions that popped up.
Okay.
Okay. I'll let you put that in the chat. Dave asked, what are your feelings? I'm surprised this took so long. What are your feelings about the potential negatives of the COVID vaccination? Are there any concerns about vaccinating? This is a great question to ask you.
It is. I thought we were going to play nice. I try to not be snarky about this. I do know that COVID is a concern, and that people who have contracted it are suffering. There are some people who suffer a lot from it. My concern comes in that this whole year that this has been going on, we've not been having a lot of communication about the immune system, about what we eat. So, why isn't the CDC or FDA or doctors saying, hey, you need to be getting plenty of sunshine. you need to be exercising, you need to be eating plenty of raw fruits and vegetables because those build your immune system. Take your vitamin C, get your zinc, all of those things. Vitamin D is another great one that builds your immune system to help you fight against this virus so that you don't get it, or if you do get it, your symptoms are not as severe. And I really believe if we would have taken that approach, our healthcare system wouldn't be overwhelmed to the degree that it is in general, or especially now with dealing with COVID. I don't want to make light of it because I do know it's a real thing and that people really do suffer for it. But I believe that our approach that we've taken towards it has not helped us to fight it. And as far as you asked about the vaccine, generally, I don't support vaccines because of all of the other stuff is in them. The idea of like exposing yourself to that virus, that dead virus that's supposed to be not as potent. So, whether it's the flu or whatever it is, I think that's a great idea. My problem just lies in all of the other stuff that we put in with the vaccine that is harmful to us and is creating problems. So that's my take on it. I will not personally be getting the COVID vaccine. I will choose to build my immune system and go that route.
Yeah. Any herb for bone strength, cartilage issues?
Yeah. There are any of your herbs that help with the calcium. So we talked about calcium usage tonight. So the liver detox is going to go along with that because it's going to help you absorb your vitamins and your minerals better. And then there's herbal calcium. So it's an all plant-based formula. Like a lot of times if you take a calcium supplement, it's animal-based, but this is plant-based. And so it's more useful by the body to absorb the minerals and the vitamins out of it. The idea that we need to drink cow's milk to get calcium is not, it's a good theory, but the problem is the form that the milk is in. So the calcium in milk is not really usable by us, kind of evidenced by, you look at the number of cases of osteoporosis and the amount of milk that people have consumed, 3 glasses a day or 3 servings of milk a day we've been saying that for decades, but our numbers of osteoporosis are much higher than other countries that don't consume any cow's milk. And so finding an herbal calcium is great to do to build that bone structure and keep your bone soft, like Tim was talking about. As you age, it gets brittle, dried out. If you're not consuming healthy foods, it gets dried out. And then plus using your raw fruits and vegetables as your food helps a lot.
Yeah. Keith asks, can you overdo it with zinc? He had a bout with kidney stones, and he was wondering if it wasn't brought on by taking zinc daily over a long period of time.
The really amazing thing about zinc is if you've taken too much, because it tastes like you've just eaten a piece of metal. So that is something I appreciate so much about zinc. You don't need a ton of it, but I would not say that taking it over a period of time, like daily, would contribute to that unless you're ignoring your body's warning signs when you're taking that zinc. If you're taking it in powdered form, you don't notice it as much. I usually take it in liquid form because then I taste it. And if it tastes bitter, I've had enough zinc. And so then I'll back off for several days, maybe take less a few days later and go that route. But your body knows when it has enough because you taste that metallic taste.
And do you take, how many milligrams of zinc do you take a day? Do you take it like that?
I take, right now I take about half a teaspoon is what I'm taking.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not sure what the suggested dose on the bottle is. It may be about that. But I've used a combination of vitamin D, calcium, and zinc powdered up for brushing my teeth for a long time. So I kind of have it built up in my system. I'm not deficient on zinc because I've had it.
Gotcha. All right, let's see. Any more questions out there?
She put her phone number on there.
And you put your phone number, Marissa, in the chat? Cool.
Yep.
I'll give people a couple of seconds. There are always, sometimes questions are always formulating when one person talks and doesn't. In reference, while we're waiting, that's one of the things that Brian Peskin has talked about with the omega oils, that they build bone matrix. He is very concerned we build bone from the inside out, as opposed to taking something external that just kind of coagulates around the bone itself, but building it structurally from the inside out, which omega-6 particularly oils are very good at building bone matrix to make strong
Yeah.
bones.
And if that can be your mentality to go from the inside out with everything that you do,
Yeah.
the bone is the only way to do that. But everything else, if you can think to go from the inside out. So how can you get the good stuff in your liver, in your kidneys, into your heart to build it from the inside out is how you want to be thinking about your body and your lifestyle.
Yeah. And the other thing with like osteoporosis, good quality protein, right? Structural builders that people don't get enough of, and therefore they don't build strong structure, which is your bones are. So yes.
Right.
Very good. Okay. Yeah. Marissa, I think I don't see any more questions. Thank you so much. And people out there, thank you all. I know there's a lot of Healthy for Life customers as well as people, and we deeply appreciate this and hope you found this incredibly helpful. And contact Marissa. She does wonderful work, and she's also a wonderful person. So anyway, I think that's it. Thank you guys for all joining us tonight. This will be on our website, so you'll be able to watch this.
Stay tuned for the next one next month.
And stay tuned for next month. Next month, we're bringing on Nick Wallace, I think, is going to be here next month from Wallace Farms. Nick is going to be introducing the importance of clean soil. Nick's a farmer, comes from, I think he's a third generation. Nick, if you're listening out there, I don't know if it's third or fourth generation. And he'll be talking about the importance of healthy soil and healthy water in that soil. And of course, it produces healthy food. And he's also going to be talking about the introduction of 99 counties, which is something that he has launched as part of the regenerative agriculture in Iowa. So that's next month. And Marissa, again, thank you so much for your willing to come on and share with us your knowledge. We deeply appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet.